You ever seen two teenage girls walk into an airport with first-class tickets, dressed sharp, heads held high, hearts pounding with excitement for their first solo trip, only to get treated like they just shoplifted a Rolex? Yeah, that happened. And what started as a humiliating airport scene turned into a full-blown corporate shutdown of one of the biggest airlines in America, grounded, not delayed, not rerouted, grounded, every flight, every gate, frozen solid. Let me back up a sec. Their names were Maya and Janelle Brooks, 17, twins, brilliant, beautiful, and black. Daughters of Caleb Brooks, a tech mogul most folks had no idea ran half the digital infrastructure behind modern air travel. Their mom? Dr. Carmen Alvarez, one of the most respected neurosurgeons on the East Coast. But none of that mattered the morning they tried to catch their connecting flight from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. They were headed to the Adams Institute Summer Scholars Program, a dream opportunity for aspiring young doctors. Caleb had made sure they were prepped for everything. TSA hassles, boarding pass checks, even that cold, curious stare that says, "You sure you belong here?" And he gave them one more thing, a sleek black satellite phone. "Use it only if things get real bad," he'd said, slipping it into Maya's bag. "It bypasses regular networks. Direct line to me, always." They'd rolled their eyes at first. He was always a little extra. But now, they'd thank every second of that overprotective dad energy. Because when they arrived at Gate 43 in Atlanta, first-class tickets in hand, IDs ready, confirmation emails queued up, things went south fast. The gate agent, Mr. Leonard Barnes, older guy, pressed shirt, smug as hell, took one look at them and said, "Ladies, I'm going to need to verify your documents." They handed him everything, licenses, tickets, even their program itinerary. But Leonard wasn't interested in papers. He was interested in proving a point. "These tickets were flagged," he said flatly. "Could be fraud." Cue the secondary character, Officer Peterson. Security, bald head, shades indoors, real power trip vibes. No greeting, no explanation. Just grabbed Maya's carry-on and started dumping it open on the counter like he was looking for smuggled diamonds. Passengers started watching. Phones came out. Someone whispered, "What's going on?" Peterson announced, loud and proud, "These girls are under investigation for potential ticket fraud. Stand back, folks." The twins stood frozen. Janelle tried to explain, her voice shaking but polite. "Our father bought these. He travels for work. He's CEO of—" "Ma'am," Peterson cut her off, "you can explain that after we're done checking your story." And just like that, two high schoolers were pulled out of line, separated, stripped of their phones and dignity, and locked in separate interrogation rooms. No lawyer, no parent, just two scared kids and a system that never expected consequences. But remember that phone? Janelle had hidden it under her shirt. 2 taps, secure signal, straight to Dad. Now let me tell you about Caleb Brooks. He was in Chicago, standing center stage at the International Tech Conference, giving a keynote on global connectivity and crisis-resilient infrastructure. And in the middle of his talk, mid-sentence, he froze. Because the satellite phone in his pocket buzzed, he stepped off stage without a word. His assistant looked like he'd seen a ghost. 10 minutes later, every major news outlet had received an anonymous tip. 2 minors detained at Atlanta International, accused of fraud while traveling first class, video footage attached. And that's when the avalanche began. Social media exploded. Hashtag flying while black started trending. People reposted footage from the gate, Barnes waving the girls away, Peterson rifling through their bras and textbooks. Civil rights attorneys jumped in. Journalists started calling Caleb's company, Brooksnet, for comment. But Caleb wasn't looking for headlines. He was looking for leverage. See, Brooksnet didn't just provide in-flight Wi-Fi. They powered the entire back-end tech stack for Continental Skyways, reservation systems, crew scheduling, baggage routing, and even gate access logs. And guess what? Caleb's contract included a morality clause. If Continental did anything that could damage Brooksnet's public image through association, he had the legal right to pull the plug. So that night, while Barnes and Peterson were probably still clocking overtime, Caleb's legal team hit execute on a series of silent commands. 4:17 a.m. Continental's entire infrastructure blinked. Flights grounded in Houston, check-in terminals frozen in LAX, baggage carousels jammed in JFK. Digital chaos. At 5:02 a.m., the CEO of Continental, Frederick Miles, got a phone call. Caleb didn't scream. He didn't threaten. He just said, My daughters were treated like criminals for flying first class. You have until noon to fix this, or every single plane you own stays parked. Now here's where it gets even juicier. While Frederick scrambled to call board members, press agents, and IT teams, his own staff started defecting. A senior flight attendant leaked her training manual, noting suspicious passenger protocols. Guess what? 89% of suspicious profiles included vague language that disproportionately described young black travelers. An ex-employee posted an open letter titled, "You thought they were just two kids?" And the dominoes kept falling. Continental tried damage control, offered a public apology, said it was a regrettable misunderstanding based on internal alerts. But it was too late, because the story had grown teeth and a voice. Caleb flew into Atlanta that afternoon, not for a meeting, not for a statement. He went straight to Gate 43, where Maya and Janelle were waiting, surrounded by reporters, lawyers, and 3 very nervous Continental executives. "You're here for the press?" one exec asked. "No," Caleb replied, eyes cold. "I'm here for accountability." Over the next 4 hours, in a private conference room overlooking the tarmac, Caleb laid out terms. Termination of all staff involved, mandatory anti-bias training for every employee, a multi-million-dollar contribution to the National Equity Fund, and a public admission that this was racial profiling, not just bad optics. Frederick pushed back. "We can't just fire people over one incident." Caleb leaned forward. "This wasn't one incident. This was one you got caught doing." Silence. One board member tried to stall, asking, "Is this really worth destroying our airline over?" Caleb replied without blinking, "Is it worth keeping an airline that destroys trust?" By sundown, he had everything he asked for. The next morning, flights resumed. Screens flickered back to life. Planes taxied down runways like nothing happened. But everything had changed. Barnes, Peterson, and the entire chain of supervisors? Gone. Continental's website now featured a full-page statement. "We failed. Here's how we'll do better." And Maya and Janelle? They got to D.C., a day late, but with the whole damn country watching. 3 months later, something wild happened. 9 other major carriers adopted what the media started calling the Brooks Protocol: anonymous audits, equity oversight boards, bias response hotlines. Business schools wrote case studies. Civil rights orgs used it to push legislation on travel discrimination. And at a quiet dinner table back home, Caleb raised a glass. "To my daughters, who took a nightmare and turned it into a reckoning." Janelle smiled. "You didn't just defend us, Dad. You forced them to evolve." But here's the kicker. Next time they flew, gate agent smiled, nodded politely, processed their tickets without a second glance, like it was just another Tuesday. Progress? Maybe. But the real win wasn't just that 2 black girls got to sit in first class. It was that they made damn sure they wouldn't be the last. So now I'm asking you, was Caleb right to pull the plug on an entire airline to defend his daughters? Or was it too much power for one man to wield? Drop your thoughts below. Was this justice or revenge dressed up in ethics? Let's talk.